Hello. Today we're going to write a found poem. This is probably one of my favorite kind of poems. And so to start off with, I'm going to give you some step-by-step instructions. First, we'll talk about what is a found poem. Next, I will model how we write a found poem using a clip from The Ponds. It's a classic from Henry David Thoreau. And then afterwards, you will follow along and try it on your own. Okay, so let's give it a try. Now, one of my favorite parts of writing a found poem is that I don't actually have to come up with all of the words on my own. In fact, none of the words are really my words. They're words that I'm finding that someone else has already written. So let's check out some details about found poems. Now, this this note sheet is on Canvas, so you can check it out and read over it a little bit more on your own. But let's go over it together. What exactly is a found poem? A found poem is called from language of a piece of writing that was not written as verse, such as an essay, a letter, or a newspaper. So if a story is not written as verse, that means it was written in sentences and paragraphs. Okay? That means it's coming from another source. So we're thinking, what are some interesting words that someone else has already written? It comes from another piece of work, okay? Comes from somewhere else. And you could use fiction or nonfiction, so quite a variety. Let's keep going. The reader discovers what the poetic elements are, okay? What stands out to you as being poetic in the piece of writing, in the story, in the chapter? What is poetic? Okay, in a true found poem, none of the words are changed, so we don't add to them or change the sequence, but today we'll have those options. Okay, poet and writer Annie Dillard comments that found poetry is editing at its extreme, writing without composing, because I'm not writing those words on my own, I'm finding them. Someone else has already written them, but I'm using those as inspiration for my poem. Okay, a really cool part about found poetry is it helps us to think about the language around us and see how there are some things in books and magazines and newspapers that really are poetic, even though maybe their intention or their original purpose was not to be a poem, but they have strong emotions, and also it gets us out of rhyming all the time, because poetry can rhyme, but it doesn't have to be. Instead, we can focus on the words and what they mean as a whole. So let's go ahead and check out an example here. Just for some ease, I have copied part of our poem, our prose piece, right? A sentence and the paragraphs. And this is The Ponds from Henry David Thoreau. So I'm going to spend a few minutes. The first step is just finding a text and reading it for words. I'm going to spend a few minutes just looking over the words and asking myself what stands out as interesting, poetic, unique, very descriptive in this passage. Okay, and such a day in September or October, Walden is a perfect forest mirror. That sounds cool. Set round with stones as precious to my eye as if fewer or rarer. Nothing so fair, so pure, at the same so large. Okay, I like that. So fair, so pure, so large, because I see that there's this repetition for effect. We have the word so, and that feels very poetic. as a lake perchance lies on the surface of the earth. Sky, water, needs no fence. Nations come and go without defiling it. It is a mirror which no stone can crack, whose quicksilver will never wear off. I like the words a mirror when we're describing water, right? No stone can crack, whose quicksilver will never wear off, whose gilding nature continually repairs. No storms, no dust can dim its surface ever fresh. I like the repetition again. No storm, no dust can dim its surface ever fresh. A mirror. Oh, we see the words again. A mirror. Repetition again. A mirror in which all impurity presented to it sinks, swept and dusted by the sun's hazy brush. Do you see any other words that are poetic? Maybe they create a picture in your mind. How about the sun's hazy brush? Makes me think of a sunset, or maybe even a sunrise, different colors like a painting. Okay, so the first step was find a text and read it, looking for interesting words that we could use to create our own poem. Second step, we can highlight the words. If you make a copy, you can highlight the words, or if you use an ebook or a digital copy, you could highlight the words like I did today. Or if you have your own paper book, right? If you have a chapter book, like for example, you could do a story like Pete the Cat. It doesn't really matter what it is. Maybe you love a book. You have one that you're reading right now. Here's Catching Fire. Could be Harry Potter. Or you could do nonfiction. Here's a book about guitars. Okay, if you're into sports or anything like that. What book do you have at home? Or what book can you find online? Or again, a magazine or a newspaper or any other text, any other piece of writing that is not originally written as a poem. Okay, you're looking for those things. So if you have a book that's not a digital book, make a list, open a Google Doc, take out a piece of paper, and as you read over a page or two or a chapter, doesn't have to be long. Here was just a paragraph. As you read over a paragraph or a page or two or a chapter, make a list of the words that stand out to you. What is interesting, unique, poetic? What creates a picture that sounds interesting or stands out to you for some reason? Okay, so I'm going to keep going here, and you can see I've done this once or twice before, and here is an example of finding some words and highlighting them. And next, you'll see the typed version of the poem, rewritten now as a poem using lines and stanzas instead of paragraphs and sentences. We also include a title. So the original title was called The Ponds, but now we're using Walden Pond. And let's see how this poem sounds. Remember, poetry is meant to be read out loud, and we can experiment with the word order and line and stanza breaks. But let's read this one now together as the poem form. Walden is a perfect forest mirror, so fair, so pure, so large, set round in stones, sky, water, needs no fence. A mirror no stone can crack. Quicksilver will never wear off. No storms, no dust, ever fresh. A mirror. Kind of cool, huh? Again, I didn't create words of my own. I didn't think of words on my own. Instead, what I did was look over the text and read the words, thinking which ones stand out that seem poetic, meaningful, create a picture in my mind, Maybe there's some repetition for effect, or figurative language, or something else that makes it seem very creative or interesting. Okay? Um, we typed the words up, we added a title, and then we're going to give it credit from where it came from. Okay? Who's the original author, the author of the original text? Now, you are going to experiment writing your own found poem. Find a text that you like or enjoy or you think that's interesting. It can be any text that's not originally written as a poem. And using 15 or more words, 10 or more lines of a poem, you will write your own. I'm linking a guide on Canvas that you can refer to. You can watch this clip again, or you can look over the details that outline the steps of how to write a found poem. And when you're finished with your poem, you will submit it to Canvas assignments. I hope you enjoy this one. It can be a lot of fun. Couple things I think I forgot to mention. Although we are not creating our own words or coming up with our own ideas, we're reusing or recycling what another author has written. You may add some small connecting words. So sometimes we may need a word like the, or of, or as, and words like those you can add in as necessary to help the flow and feel of the poem. Remember, poetry is meant to be read out loud, so how does it feel as you're reading it? And what does it sound like? Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to drop into my office hours on Zoom on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 2 to 3 in the afternoon, or send me a message on Canvas and have fun with this one. All right, we'll connect again soon. See you later.